It's been a month since we returned from Silvio, and everything is pretty much the same. I still wasn't talking to Darium, and he did everything possible not to get in my way. I was still hurt by his decision to conceal the truth from me and, at the same time, pissed that he was complying with my request for space. Shouldn't he try everything possible to make me forgive him instead of staying out of my way? It was frustrating sleeping alone on the bed, but I tried to suck it in because I wasn't going to be the one to make the first step. Maybe that makes me petty or childish, but I didn't really care. You could say I was feeling too prideful to initiate the first conversation between us after telling him to stay away. I sigh, running my fingers through my hair while laying on the bed, not really doing much as usual, just like the other days, cooped up in the room alone. Kiva and Gala were quite aware of the fact that I wanted to be left alone, so they only came into the room when they had something important to tell me. My focus, like always, was at the window, staring at nothingness, when a knock on the door had my attention shifting towards it. The door opens. I was expecting to see Kiva or Gala, but I was shocked when Nico walked in with a smile on his face. "Hi, Letitia." He greets me, bowing his head in respect even though he was talking to me casually. "Hi," I responded, sitting up on the bed. "It's been a while, we haven't had the time to talk since you returned from Silvio." He said this, rocking his feet front and back, looking nervous. "I have just not been myself lately." I know. Of course he knew, there was no way he wouldn't know. After all, he was Darium's right-hand man and trusted friend. "Look, it's probably not my place to butt in on whatever dispute you and Darium have, and I know you have every right to be mad at him, but can you cut him some slack?" I sighed, running my hand through my face. "He lied to me, Nico, for months." "Yes, he did, but so did I, Zane, and Neith. Yet you still talk to us." "It's different," I stated. "You can't compare yourself to Darium, and you know it. He should have been the one to tell me, he shouldn't have kept it from me to begin with. We swore not to lie to each other or withhold any form of truth, which he did." "You're right, but don't forget he had the same intention as the rest of us, and you forgave us, so why is it different with him?" He sighs. "Look, I know you felt like you were betrayed and all, but that wasn't his intention. He didn't tell you because he didn't want to hurt you. Darium cares for you, the last thing he would want to see is you in any form of pain." "Well, guess what? I am." I snapped. He tried shielding me from the pain and ended up causing it by withholding the truth from me. Zane and I can attest to the fact that he wanted to tell you so many times. The night your sister came unannounced, he planned on telling you. His words made me remember the time Katrona had arrived and how Darium had been acting strangely for a moment. I ended up completely forgetting about it because of the arrival of someone unexpected. I maintained my passive face, not giving anything away. Nico tilts his head, like he was thinking for a moment before snapping his eyes back to me. "He also wanted to tell you the day you fainted, then he heard about the news of the baby and thought it was best you didn't know since the both of you were blessed with another child." There was no doubt he was telling the truth about it. Some part of me wanted to let go of the anger and hurt that I was feeling and forget everything. Another part of me still hadn't gotten over the fact that I lost a child, and the one person I believe won't lie to me did. "It doesn't change anything, Nico. You said he wanted to tell me," I said, choosing to go with the latter emotions I was feeling right now. "Do you know how hurt and broken I was to find this out from someone who reveled at the sight of me being hurt, or the fact that I didn't know I had lost a life growing inside me? A part of Darium and I, that I failed to protect." Closing my eyes, I take a deep breath before pulling them back open and staring into Nico's eyes. I was able to read his emotions as he gave me a pleading look. "I understand what you are trying to do, I really do. You are worried that our relationship might end up getting strained. A part of me wants to let it all go, forget everything, but what about him? He hasn't made any attempt to redeem himself." "That was because you told him you needed space," he points out, and I almost groan at how frivolous I must have sounded. "I did, but that was weeks ago, and yet he has made no attempt. He was respecting your wish, you told him to stay away, and he did exactly that, even though it was killing him too." Nico counters. "Yes, you are hurt, but like you said, you aren't the only one who lost a child. He did as well. He paused for a brief moment before speaking again. You might not know this because you were still recovering. I was there when Luca gave him the news. He was crushed and mad at himself for failing to protect the two of you. He was out for blood, ready to hunt down the person involved in causing such grief. If I wasn't there to stop him, he would have gone totally insane, and the way I was able to do that was because of you. I had to remind him of how much you needed him. That is the only reason he managed to stay sane. That still doesn't mean he has let go of the pain, because he hasn't. I wiped the tears from my face, biting down on my lips. I wish you wouldn't blame him anymore for keeping it from you. You both are in pain and won't be able to pass through this pain if you don't do this together. He waits for my response, and when he doesn't get any, Nico sighs, walking over to the door before pulling it open. Remember, you are not the only one who got hurt, he did too. He walks out of the room, leaving me alone with my thoughts.
Daryl's POV.
I tossed and turned for hours, not able to sleep. This wasn't a new thing since it was my usual plight each night or any other time. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't bring myself to sleep, and I know it was because I was so used to sleeping beside Letitia that every other bed feels foreign to me, even if it is one that I have been using my whole life before getting married. The morning Letitia confronted me about our child, I couldn't explain the fear that gripped my heart. I remember repeating it to myself, hoping for it to be a dream. Especially when I found out it was her sister Princess Katrona who had told her about it, I wanted nothing more than to crush her neck. But I knew I had to hold myself back because I needed to find out how she knew something that was meant to be a secret and only a few people knew about. There was no doubt that whoever told her was in this palace, and I was getting close to the truth, thanks to Gareth and Nico, who were helping investigate the case. Taking a deep breath, I shake away the thoughts from my head before letting out a deep sigh. My head shifted toward the window, with the curtain pulled to each side, letting me take in the view of the night sky. Groaning lowly, I sat up on the bed, staring into the darkness of the room. It was already a month, yet it felt like a decade to me. When Letitia requested that I give her space, my heart was shattered into pieces, and I felt every hope of us reconciling being destroyed. It took everything in me not to get down on my knees and plead with her to let it go, but I know doing that isn't going to take away the pain she felt at the thought of my disloyalty. So I did what she requested of me, staying away as best I could, even though it was the hardest thing I have ever done. Getting up from the bed, I stretched a little to ease my muscles before pulling on pants and a shirt. I stared at the dark cloud one last time before setting out of my room. Unheedingly, I followed the path that led to my heart and soon made it into a familiar hallway. The guards in their position, they bowed to me but didn't say a word, knowing they were not supposed to, as I didn't want to attract any attention. They were familiar with this rule since they were used to me coming over at night to check on their queen, and they knew to keep it a secret from prying ears as I didn't want Letitia to find out. The thought of her getting pissed, if she ever finds out I was partially keeping to the agreement to stay away. I walked down the hallway until I was standing in front of the door of the room Letitia was in, our chamber. I quietly opened the door, walking into it and quietly closing it behind me. I took a slow, light step to the bed, using the moon as a source of light. Letitia was lying there in the bed, sound asleep. She was lying on her side, her face facing the window, and the moonlight was illuminating her face, making her look radiant and captivating and enhancing every beautiful feature on her face. Her hand was resting on the small bulge on her stomach in a protective demeanor, and her breath was deep and even. I took a seat on the couch beside the window and admired her as she slept. How can she look so beautiful and adorable even while asleep? The way she cuddled on the pillow beside her made me feel envious of it. I missed having my fingers run through her smooth, thick locks while cuddling up beside her and holding her close to me. Getting up from the couch, I walked up to her, reaching out my hand and slowly inching it closer to her face. Using my pointer finger, I run it down her face, running it down her cheekbone to her chin. Letitia stirs a little, causing me to ease my action, and she subconsciously moves her face in a way to feel my touch. I trace my finger on her chin one more time, moving over to her lips and feeling the softness of them before redrawing my hand. The night was slowly drifting away, and the morning was about to show itself. I knew it was time to end my visit before she woke up and caused a fit. I leaned down, pecking her forehead and glancing down at her. Taking in a deep breath, I walked back to the door, pulling open the door quietly and stepping out as I closed it quietly. I walked back to my chamber, got out of my clothes, and made my way to the bath chamber for a quick bath. I then changed into a clean cloth and began my duty for the day. Keeping my focus on the things I needed to do for the day, was able to keep my mind away from others' thoughts.
How can you possibly look worse with each passing day?
I'm not in the mood for small talk. Neith, I muttered, carrying on along my way to the training ground. You and Letitia are just unbelievable and stubborn. She walks a bit faster to meet my stride. When will the two of you stop avoiding each other and actually work things out? It is taking a toll on the both of you. Letitia hardly comes out of her room, and you look literally like a walking corpse. Neith, when was the last time you actually slept? I've been too busy with the matter of the court. That is not an excuse, she stated. You haven't slept or eaten, and all you do is work. You don't need to worry about me. Yes, I do. I'm your sister. You can't tell me not to be worried about you when you keep acting this way. I groaned, stopping on my track, and she did the same, taking a step to stand in front of me. It's been a month watching you torture yourself, and I can't stand it. You don't eat, you don't sleep, all you do is work and work. I can't stand it any longer, Darium. I'm scared that if you carry on at this rate, you might end up falling sick, or worse, I might end up losing you. I watched her fight back the tears in her eyes, which made me feel guilty knowing I was the one who caused them. I pulled her body closer to me, hugging her tightly as she bawled her eyes out. My hand brushes her hair, patting her back to get her to stop crying. We stayed in each other's embrace for a few moments before pulling back. Neith sniffs, wiping the tears from her face.
You are not going to lose me,
I said to her, cupping her cheek. Then take better care of yourself, brother, she scolded, before walking out of the training ground.
Gala, Gala, Gala. Gala gasped in shock, staring at the woman in front of her. The look she was giving her was sinister, causing her body to shiver in fear. WH. What are you doing here? She managed to stutter out, taking a step back as the woman walked forward in threatening steps. I believe you know the reason why I am here. Oh, Gala. What am I ever going to do with you? Her tone was playful and deadly at the same time. Gala could tell that the woman was having fun with her plight. I have no idea what you mean. She gulped again in fear, mustering up the courage to speak. You shouldn't be here. Acting all innocently isn't going to get you anywhere. The woman says this, placing a finger underneath her chin. And you are right, I shouldn't be here. The king would go ballistic if he ever found out I was here. Why are you here then? I believe it's time the both of us met. Princess Katrona has been helpful, but she can't get easy access to Letitia, but you, on the other hand, can. You act like you aren't close to her as well. I may be, but it's different from you. She trusts you and no doubt considers you a sister. All the more reason why it should be you. I will not take part in your ploy against the queen. Gala was surprised at how bold her voice came out despite almost peeing her pants at the sight of the woman in front of her. Isn't it too late already to be feeling guilty, Gala, or did you think no one was watching when you dismissed the guards assigned to the queen to let the queen's sister in? Or the fact that you have given her information on the affairs of the palace and the activities of our precious, loving queen, who trusts you with all her heart? At this point, Gala couldn't stop the tears from falling. Every time she looked at the queen, seeing how depressed and saddened she was because of her dispute with the king, she couldn't help but feel guilty. It was all her fault. She had been the one to tell the princess about her sister's miscarriage, but it was only to secure the safety of her family. Seeing the queen in torment these past few days, she swore to come clean with her atrocities and beg for her forgiveness. Queen Letitia has been nothing but kind to you, so why are you doing this? The more she looked at the woman, the more she saw how deranged she was, the evil look in her eyes and the sly smirk on her lips. It was safe to say that the woman standing in front of her wasn't at all mentally stable, and it was a surprise how well she hid it. Fooling everyone, including her. The woman pretended to think, tilting her head to the side before snapping her finger like she had thought about a spectacular reason. It's simple, I despise the mere sight of her and want her gone. Gala was shocked. How can she say she despised the sight of the queen when she was nothing but kind towards them? Yes, she may have betrayed the queen, and it wasn't an excuse, but she did it against her will. It was different from the woman standing in front of her. The hate was visible and clear to see. How can someone hate a person like Queen Letitia, who is nothing but pure of heart? How can you possibly say that? Gala stares at her, bewildered. How can I? The woman mocked her, letting out a sinister laugh. I don't care what your game is, but now I do plan on telling the queen everything, and I will do so well to let her know about your intentions towards her. There is no way she will ever forgive you. You think she will forgive you just because you had a bit of a guilty conscience and decided to come clean by yourself. I don't expect her to forgive me, but I won't let you hurt her. Gala responded with full confidence, swaying her way around her to the door, but before she could pull it open, the woman spoke again, stopping her on her track. Oh, what's his name? Jethro. Gala spins around, her heart accelerating. Leave my brother alone. I wish I could, but he happens to be my ticket to getting you to do what I want. You're bluffing, you know mentioning his name would stop me, so you thought of using him to scare me. Too bad, I won't fall for it. Too bad indeed, because I'm in no way joking. She stated this, looking bored. She took a step towards her, taking the handle of the door in her hand. I really wish it didn't have to come to this, but you leave me no choice. She opened the door, letting out a command. Bring him in! There was no way her brother was here in Nisha's. She was no doubt trying to scare her. Gala couldn't help but pray for it to be true. There was nothing compared to what she felt when she saw her younger brother being dragged in by a man she didn't recognize, his clothes tattered and his face bloody. Gala lets out a sob, tears in her eyes. Jethro. She called out, taking light steps toward her brother, but got no response from him. Panic filled her, and she rushed over to him as the man let go of him, not caring if he dropped to the floor. She took a hold of her brother, her hands immediately went beneath his nose, checking to see if he was alive, and a sigh of relief left her lips when his breath fanned her hand. She cuddled his battered body closer to her, wiping away the ordeal his weak body must have endured. How can someone be so evil to do this to a little child? She was really a devil incarnate. There was no way a human would be able to do such a thing to a child and not feel compassion. I hope you reconsider my offer. Her words had Gala spinning around to look at her with a tear-stained face. How can you do this to a child? How can you be so heartless? Gala yelled, angry at the fact that once again her family had to be used as a pawn to get her to do their bidding. She never would have guessed her life would turn out this way, with her ending up being a burden to her family. The woman in front of her showed no remorse whatsoever and rolled her eyes, glancing at her with an impatient look. I believe we have been through this, Gala. We can't keep going in circles. She stated. I need you to do one last thing for me, and I promise to let your brother go. What do you say? Gala left again to make another choice. Was it the queen or her brother? And just like before, she chose the latter with a heavy heart. What do you need me for? She asked, and the woman laughed, clapping her hands excitedly. It's simple, all you need to do is add this to the queen's meal. She said this, taking out a small bottle from the inside of her dress and handing it over to her. Gala stared at the bottle, wondering what it contained and why she wanted her to feed it to the queen. Not being able to withhold her curiosity, she decided to ask. What does it do? Nothing really, the woman answered nonchalantly, probably get rid of an obstacle. Her laughter boomed the room as she said that, and Gala didn't need a genius to tell her what she meant.